Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Commissioner debate. My name is Braden Jennings, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the Stanley Reed Political Science and Pre-Law Society. On behalf of our organization, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Tonight's event is a vital part of the democratic process and serves as an opportunity for you, the voters, to hear directly from the candidates who seek to lead and serve our community. At a time when civic engagement is more important than ever, we believe it is our responsibility to provide a platform for informed dialogue, transparent discussion, and thoughtful consideration of the issues that affect all of us. Local elections like these may not always make national headlines, but they have a profound impact on our daily lives, from the streets that we drive on, to the services that we rely on, to the community projects that shape our future. Tonight's debate will explore key issues ranging from economic development, public safety, infrastructure, housing, and sustainability. We hope this debate will not only inform your decisions as voters, but also inspire you to engage more deeply with the political process. Now let's move on to the rules for tonight's debate. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question, with a 30-second response that'll be at the discretion of the moderator. Tonight's questions will be a mix of those we have created and those that the audience here tonight have created, and the people listening in on the web. Before we begin, I would like to extend our gratitude to the candidates for being here, my co-moderator for tonight's debate, Dylan Johnson, and John Patrick Payment, who is the Vice President of Stanley Reed. And especially thank all the people that took the time to participate in this essential exercise for democracy. Thank you, and please give a round of applause to our candidates tonight. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. We apologize. No, you're...
We're going to go ahead and start off by giving each candidate 30 seconds for an opening statement.
I'm Sharon Neesmith. I am currently working at the Hampton Inn and Suites as a general manager and have worked a lot with the city of Owensboro and our community as far as tourism. One of the things that I have done is worked for Bell South and AT&T for a really long time and traveled to a lot of different cities. In that time, I didn't have a lot of time to do extra things. So as I have come back home and not traveling, I wanted to try my hand to see how I could help in the city. So bottom line, I'm here. I bring you, my master's degree is from Brescia. My bachelor's was from McKendree College. And I bring you the knowledge of working in different states in different areas and knowing what we're doing as far as what we can do to be better or to change and get new ideas. So I appreciate all of y'all being here, and I'm excited to be able to listen to all of us, because I will tell you right now, this is a table of a lot of talent and a lot of good ideas.
Hello, everybody. First, I want to thank Kentucky Wesleyan for putting this on. My name is Rafe Buckner. I am a senior high graduate, born and raised in Owensboro. Left and went to Tennessee State University, where I am finishing up some degree work in healthcare administration and planning. I'm the owner of a small landscaping business called A Cut Above Mowing, LLC. For the last 5 years, I've been out in the community as the chair of the Northwest Neighborhood Alliance here in Owensboro. And through that program, I've been able to implement some programming to help with the food insecurity in that area of town, jobs, expungement workshops, community cleanups, beautification projects in the local parks. And I just have a passion for serving the people. I'm number one on the ballot, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to thank Kentucky Wesleyan for hosting this forum. I think it's very important. My name is Curtis Maglinger, and I'm a lifelong resident. I'm a small local business owner with Custom Audio Video that's been operating in Owensboro for over 4 decades. Owensboro's been good to my family, our business, and myself, and that's why it's time for me to help give back and serve our community. As a small business owner, I have the experience of making those hard decisions, be open-minded, and to always adapt to change. I'm going to be 50 years old next week. My daughter is 20 years old. She's a college student, so I think I'm in tune with a lot of the issues and opportunities that young adults are facing in Owensboro. So I just want to help keep Owensboro moving forward. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name's Jeff Sanford. I'm from Owensboro. I went to Apollo High School, Western Kentucky University, and pretty much lived here my whole life. I've had businesses in Bowling Green, Nashville, and currently I'm in the real estate business here in Owensboro, Kentucky. I served 5 terms as a city commissioner, 1 as mayor pro tem, and we've done a lot of good things in the community. The downtown is absolutely beautiful, but I feel like we have hit a plateau and we need to get to the next level. Industry is why I'm running. I think opportunity for young people will really lift up our community. We have a lot to sell in this community, but I think it takes people that have business knowledge and who have put together deals to get industry into our community. We've done good with our current industry, but we need brand new industry. I would appreciate your vote in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Robert Morris. Lived here all my life. Built custom homes, developed land, dealt with large sums of money, other people's money, had to sell them, and I worked off commission and had to get big projects done on time and on budget. I now have a small remodeling business, DNA Remodeling. I also have to get things done on time and on budget. I'm really good at that, especially when it comes to projects that we've got going on in the city right now that are taking a long time and eating up a lot of time and budget and are not really good ideas at the economy we have right now. My wife, Susan, she's out in the audience. She went to school here, went to law school at Vanderbilt. Thank you, sweetie. I couldn't have done it without her. I'm a proud father and grandfather, and have a passion for this job. And I just love the politics of this city, and I want to be your city commissioner very bad, and I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, thanks for coming. My name is Bob Black. I'm currently a city commissioner, serving my 5th term. I took a break 2 years, and this is my second consecutive term. I was mayor pro tem in 2018. I'm a retired educator from Owensboro Community Technical College, as is my wife, Molly. She taught high school. We grew 2 young children here. My son's a firefighter for the city of Owensboro, and my daughter is a nurse for the Cleveland Clinic. I'm very proud
All right, thank you all. Our first question tonight is going to be about general governance and leadership. Sharon, I'm going to ask you first in order. If you were elected, what would be your first goal as city commissioner and why?
Actually, I am a city commissioner right now. I was appointed and then elected. I am hoping to run again. One of my goals and the reason I began to be interested is so many people have so many ideas when something comes out that anybody does. Like if the city says we're doing this, then the next thing you know, there are 1,700 versions of what that was and who that was for and how much it cost. So I'm really looking for transparency, and then also how do we explain to people why things happen, why they don't happen, and how we can make things happen that they want to have happen.
Thank you. Now, Rafe, I'm going to ask you the next question. If you were to be elected, what specific steps would you take to empower citizen-led initiatives and increase public engagement in decision-making?
So I come out of the Neighborhood Alliance program, which I spoke on earlier. And so my push would be to get more folks involved in their neighborhood alliances, because that's the next step to city government, in my opinion. You get to really be out amongst the people, boots on the ground, and you really, like I said, get to learn the issues. I think sometimes there's a disconnect between City Hall and what's going on in certain parts of the city. And so I think just getting people more active, out acclimated, and dealing with their neighbors and talking about the issues that they have and having the connection to City Hall is what I would really be pushing for.
Bob, would you like to respond? All right. Jeff, would you like to respond?
Yes, real quick. Years ago, we used to do a thing where we would take city commission meetings into neighborhoods. I believe we went to Mechanicsville, and I think it's something that needs to be looked at again, is we can actually go to different areas, because it's hard for young families that are working to pay the bills to leave and do things, and they got their other responsibilities. So I think if they can't get to us, it might be a good idea for us to go to them.
Robert?
I would like to see the city commissioner meetings set at a better time where people can get to them. I think the 3 minutes that the citizens are allowed to talk is good, but a lot of times you get no response. It falls on deaf ears, and it won't with me. I can give you several instances, but I think that every now and then you will get a response, but you're not able to respond to the response. And I think that there should be a good debate for citizens at the city commissioner meetings to hold their feet to the fire.
All right. So, one more response.
As a new city commissioner, I understand why the rules are there. It doesn't mean just because the person comes up front and gives us their problem, it doesn't mean it goes away. It just means that we're not going to jump in and give an answer that might be wrong or may not help what the person's really asking. So after those meetings, people are approached. I know I personally approach them to see how we can help. So it's really not a no response. It's just very awkward for the person speaking for us not to come back. But at least somebody smiles or nods their head, and we do hear you when you come up and speak.
All right. Now we're going to move on to economy and jobs. Curtis, you're going to be next question. How would you incentivize new industries to set up in Owensboro while ensuring that existing businesses continue to thrive?
Focusing on talent, that's our biggest. I'm in a technology business, and it's changing every day. So doing whatever we can to make sure we're attracting talent, developing it, and retaining. That's the big thing. So I want new business to come in, but our lifeblood too is our small businesses. It's 95% of our community and probably every other community, and we need to make sure that we do whatever we can to keep our economic development, talent flowing here. Thank you.
Robert?
Well, we definitely have to have ready sites to build factories, storage, those types of things on. There's got to be power, water, electrical, gas. It's got to be ready. Jeff has spoke about industrial parks and things like that. We've got to get that. We need more square footage. We need more land, which would mean, I think that, possibly somehow we have to increase our city limits to get that, so.
Bob, I believe you're next.
The city already gives a number of incentives to new and existing businesses. We give incentives in terms of property tax abatements and occupation tax abatements. That's one of the ways that we move to headquarters here. Kentucky Legend has their headquarters here. They moved from South Carolina, and Hay Burgers recently moved their headquarters downtown from Henderson. So I think the system, yeah, it works. I would say, though, that we do need more industrial development land, and we're working on it. The floodplain is a major issue. There is a lot of land we love to use for industrial development and floodplain.
That's, yeah. Jeff, one more response.
Yes, we have got to have an industrial park. Not only does Bowling Green have one, but they have two. And we have got to find the property, and I believe there is some property that exists in Davis County. And if you don't have somewhere to put people, they're not going to come looking for us. They're just not. And a lot of communities, for what I've seen, sometimes they'll just give the property to the business or company to bring the jobs. Now, it's not as simple as I'm putting it, but you have got to have somewhere to put industry. And that should be the next thing we look at. We've done a lot of good things. Everybody up here, most of them, and have been involved in a lot of the good things we've done. But the next thing is industry and jobs. The higher pay we get around here will help everything that we've already laid in place.
Jeff, that's your time. But Jeff, while we're on you, we have that was it. Jeff, our city has seen a lot of growth in the downtown area, specifically Smothers Park and the riverfront. But if you go to, let's say, West 2nd Street or East 4th Street, those areas are not developed economically, or just the quality of life is just not as great as the areas downtown. So do you believe that the city commission should be their responsibility to help, develop these parts of downtown which are lacking?
Well, actually, when I left, I know First Street was going from pretty much where the convention center, all the way down with brick inlays in between the streets, all the way down to English Park. You can probably do some incentive program, but there are programs right now for housing. And actually, that's some of the things that I personally do is I take old houses, fix them up, and put people in them. And I think in that area to the east and west, the thing about downtown is you have to have people living in that area 24/7 in decent houses, okay? If they live in that area, that supports our downtown businesses because they're already there. You have to have people that live there, okay? So it's about putting people there, and I believe there's some projects that are going on now that will help, but we've got to do a little bit better. There's a lot of properties that are need to be rehabbed, and you can rehab those properties and make them pretty nice and put people in them, which raises the property taxes to the east and to the west and puts people in that area, which I think will help the development.
That's your time. Yep. Any responses? I think I saw Rafe's hand first.
Okay, thank you. So there was a plan years ago for people old enough to remember David Atkinson. He put a plan together in the West End, covered West 5th Street, West 4th Street, and one of the things that they had in there was rehabilitation of homes, buildings of new homes, They put islands in the street, but there was supposed to be a certain number of businesses that were to be brought into that area. New lighting, and as that plan came together, a lot of things got scrapped. I have been pushing, you can Google it, Northwest Neighborhood Alliance, we have been pushing for lighting. We have been pushing to incentivize small businesses to locate in these areas that are blighted. I think we need to look at some of the things that Louisville and Lexington have been doing as far as with like DBE programs, which incentivize marginalized communities and help them foster business. So I think we could do better with that, definitely, to the east and the west and Midtown.
Thank you. Bob?
Yeah, we have a wonderful program that has shown the community development directors that involved in more than a decade. They deal with triplets west. That was one of the first areas. We took $1 million grant, DG block development grants, and upgraded businesses and homeowners who wanted to upgrade and improve the look of their homes. And then we also did work on the neighborhoods, including shuttering and beautification. We now are in this first area that Jack was alluded to, called Riverview. Same thing. So we are working to beautify what is essentially affordable housing and improving
your
it
time.
section by section.
Thank you.
Sorry
Robert?
about that.
Bob was talking about Abby's department and affordable housing. They're building 2 houses down there right now at the tune of $570,000. I would have scrapped those ideas of those houses. I would have put 2 duplexes on each lot with carports and had 4 families in those homes affordably. Think about it. Those 2 houses that are supposed to be affordable houses are nicer than mine. They have Pella windows, veranda porches. Pella windows aren't made here. I'd have got windows that are made here in our city.
Robert?
That's affordable housing.
That's your
What
time.
they're doing now isn't.
Thank you. Yep. Sharon?
Again, being new, I'd go out and look at these things. I would recommend that you all drive down in the English Park area and off on First Street. Yes, there's still a lot of work to be done, but there's a lot of good work that's been done. So be positive that things are being looked at, and we are moving forward. We just can't move forward fast enough. But do go out and check in your neighborhoods that we're talking about, and you will see how things can be in the future.
All right, thank you. And in the future, I'll hold up my hand instead of interrupting you all, just because our timer here is not working. So I apologize for that. Let's go back to the questions. The next question, in some ways, relates to the last, but I'm going to let Dylan, my co-moderator, do his job as well.
Hi. For you, sir. How would you ensure equitable economic growth that benefits all communities within Owensboro? Robert, sorry.
Well, if you're talking economic growth in Owensboro, I'm a firm believer, and I don't have a dog in the fight, but you have to have growth in the city. I think an outer loop is a good idea and could be looked at, and possibly a merger. But if you want to talk economic growth, that's the only way it's going to happen. And getting the industrial parks, that's got to happen. But if you just want to be where baseball tournaments are held and boat docks and those and the Bluegrass Museum, that's what we're going to be until we grow. We have to have an industrial park, we have to have a merger, and we have to have an outer loop to grow economically.
I think we are growing as a community. We've extended to 4 new residential sections, including Heatherstone, which is out on the west side, and Pebble Branch, which is another Jago housing subdivision. I think that we are moving ahead economically. As I said, we've got 619 new jobs announced just in the last month. I think the community is moving in a good direction. So I think we have great days to look forward to ahead.
Right, if you can respond. Yeah.
So the question was equitable, right?
Yes.
The equitable, meaning
Equitable economic growth. Yeah, just yes.
meaning overall. So what I spoke to earlier was the DBE program, which we don't have here, is a disadvantaged business enterprise zone, right? And so I would love for us to start that program here. Louisville, Lexington, I believe Hopkinsville has it, and this is a program that, like I said, it serves disadvantaged folks. So you have veterans, you have disabled, you have minorities, you have women, LGBTQ all of that falls under that. And you apply and receive low-interest loans, and it just fosters business for underserved communities.
Curtis.
You know, we need to think outside the box here of grabbing the remote workers. You know, we don't have a lot of property. We're looking to do things, but, you know, in our business, we wouldn't shut down by that. We find a hurdle, let's get around it. So looking at in the high-tech, high-paying jobs, we need to make sure that we have strong internet here that's bringing companies, remote workers here. Looking at automation, AI. So there's a lot of, we need to really focus on our young talent to stay here and work, and want to work here and live in Owensboro.
All right, one more question. Jeff?
You did mention equitable, right?
Yes.
Enterprise zones, and I believe you mentioned that. I really think that the city is in a position, if it's still where it was when I left, to do and create an enterprise zone, maybe on the downtown and on the 2nd Street-ish west, something like that in that area, to revive some businesses in that area where you get some kind of incentives, some kind of, you know, if you invest this, we'll match you that. That's
Thank
what
you.
I think.
Sharon, we're now back to you. You all had mentioned retention of young professionals. Sharon, if you were to be reelected, how would you do that?
I would continue to focus on something that is being done at my particular property. We have a lot of people, and everyone complains because we have so many recovery units here in town, but those people are graduating from those, and they are coming out, and they're finding low-paying jobs, but they're being moved up to other jobs. I personally have promoted 5 people that are now like an executive housekeeper. I think one of the things we have to do is look at who we've got coming out of the systems, and how can we help them get the education and the support. And also, you know, sometimes you need second chances, and every now and then you can ask for a third one. So I think we should look at how we do treat people that know they did wrong, they're coming back, and how do we help them. And all of our businesses could look at that in the smaller areas.
Bob, since I mistakenly skipped you with that question, I'm going to give you 1 minute to respond to that question.
The same question, okay?
Yes.
How do we keep young people in the
How do we
community?
retain young professionals?
Right.
Correct.
I think the way we retain people is, number one, we look and encourage business owners to pay a living wage. And I think, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, COVID forced that on us nationally. Wages are higher than they've been in the last half decade. The bad part is that's also triggered inflation. So, you know, there's that. The biggest issue we need is to provide challenging, technically oriented jobs, either in the ag tech industry or in banking or in finance or in service. And the way to do that, some of the jobs we brought in probably about 3 years ago, the huge influx of new jobs for the U.S. Bank kind of fit that profile. You have to be able to use a computer, you have to have good communication skills, you can get paid a fairly decent wage, a living wage, and good benefits. But the biggest thing is, if we're going to attract new businesses to this community, we have to let people know that we are caring and open to everyone. And we have not been. The LGBTQ, attacks on LGBTQ citizens that have occurred over the last few years are absolutely ridiculous. They do nothing but harm our community. The attacks on immigrants do nothing but harm the image of our community. So we need to
Bob,
really
that's your
start
time.
there.
Thank you. I don't know whose hand was first.
I think we need to, and now that you can work from home, we need to figure out how to support that. Entrepreneurship, we need to support that. I have a small remodeling business. I pay my guys great. They make more than I do. I know how much housekeeping people make at these hotels and things like that, and it's not a living wage. And as far as groups, LGBTQ plus, and I'm more focused on our seniors and people coming out of high school and college and getting them jobs. Everybody else can pretty much take care of themselves. They're grown folks.
That's your time. Thank
and
you.
they have to take care of themselves.
Curtis?
Yeah, having, you know, in a specialty business like us, it's a small business's responsibility too to work with schools and try to find ways to help our industry. You know, would love, as a government agency, to work with schools and see what we need to do. We need to be working with KDBC, Brescia, OCTC, Western's campus. Curious if, that works a lot. So that, making sure that we have good, high-paying jobs so we can have them want to live and work here.
That's your time. Thank you. Jeff?
You mentioned young professionals, and young professionals, that definition's changing. It's not just your typical doctor, lawyer anymore. It's now the electrician. It's now the plumber. These guys and these skilled trades, that's the future, because people are retiring so fast that you can't find anybody. Those people are the future, and we've got to make sure that we're working with OCTC, which we do. We're doing a good job, but we just got to keep on pressing and keep doing a better job.
That's your time. Thank you. And one more response. Yes, thank you.
Jeff, you made me think of another opportunity too. We need to remember our locals, our union locals in town. The unions have changed over the years, and now they have apprenticeship programs that allow students and the younger groups come in, and they just get to work for a couple of years, get an education with no charge, and then they have a great career going forward. So please remember that, and if you have any of your friends that are in the locals, find out what they're doing and share that information with them so they can share with their kids.
Yep. Thank you. We're now going to move on to housing and development. Rafe, how will you balance the need for affordable housing if you were to be elected with ensuring property rights for developers and homeowners? How would you balance the need for affordable housing while ensuring property rights for developers and homeowners?
Assuring property rights?
Yes.
So I've spoken in the past about affordable housing. And what I would like to see us do here is repurpose some of the stuff, some of the already existing buildings that we have here. I've openly talked about the senior center, which is the old Elizabeth Mundy School. And since we're getting a new senior center, I would like to see us go in there, rehab that, turn that into some type of affordable housing, whether it's for veterans, for seniors. I had hoped that that somebody would get a hold of the old Charlie Wilson's furniture, but I believe OR has that. So I think we may have missed the opportunity with that particular building to do some things. So that's what I would like to see us do, is start to look to repurpose things. I've also talked about maybe having to look at some of our zoning and planning laws and stuff that we have on the books that might need to be changed, that allow us to do some things with our vacant lots to fit more homes and things like that on there. So that's what I would like to see. And I see the city's doing that right now as we speak. So,
Who would like to respond? I believe I saw Jeff first.
I want to do a citywide expansion of blighted houses and properties. And you talk about affordable housing. I've done it myself. You can take a house that's totally in shambles. That's a $20,000 property, repurpose it, and you can get someone into a house these days. And if I tell you $150,000, that's a cheaper house, okay? And the thing about when you take these properties and you start doing these things to them, you put a family into a decent house, it makes all the difference in the world for that family.
That's your time. Thank you. Curtis?
By collaborating with local developers, our government agencies and existing programs and new programs, and community organizations, and we need to create strategies to try to see what we can do to have more affordable housing and rental opportunities for citizens.
Thank you. Robert?
I helped build 600 custom homes. We're running out of land. I never had a problem with planning and zoning. They do a great job. As far as our housing and homelessness goes, if we don't connect with Frankfort, which we don't, and get money to help, Louisville got $400 million, $40 million's going towards helping their homeless and getting those areas built back up. We have no representation in Frankfort at all. And I would hope whoever we get on this commission that we will work diligently with Frankfort to get some money to help that.
Bob, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm just going to focus on one area that I think the city's done a great job in, and that's Habitat for Humanity. Habitat has gone from building single houses to multiple house neighborhoods, and the city has collaborated by either giving land or providing funding for it. That's affordable housing. I think, to be fair, if we're really going to address the homeless issue, we need to also address hand in hand the affordable housing issue. We need to engage in rapid rehousing, and the way we do that is probably look toward our federal and state government to build another Roosevelt House, to build another Lee Manor that can accommodate lots of people.
Thank you.
Curtis, the next question will be for you, sir. Should Owensboro expand public transportation to underserved areas, and if so, how would you fund this expansion without increasing taxes?
Working together with, I don't have all that information, but be working with the city staff and learn more about it. Nobody wants to pay any more taxes. I pay a lot of taxes and want to find other ways to do it without having to raise taxes is my promise.
Robert?
Well, there's one reason the windows are decaled up on the buses. There's nobody on them practically. And you charge 50 cents to drive up and down Frederica, you need to raise those rates. Public transportation with these buses, you're not going to make money on it. It's a feel-good thing. It's a losing proposition. But we also bought an electronic bus, and that was a waste of money as far as I'm concerned. But public transportation is one of them things you got to have, but you need to raise the rates. 50 cents to go up and down is not enough money.
Thank you. Rafe?
So the way I understand it, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, it's federally controlled, right? Because I think at one time they were talking about, one of the big things was the driver's license places out on 81 now, and it's hard for people to get out there, right? So they were wanting to, the community was talking about could they expand out there, but because the feds control where you can go with the buses, it's really not up to us to do that. But I do know this, and I tip my cap to the city. They have tried doing different programs where they drive. I think they hire drivers to take you to UniFirst and different businesses like that.
Yep.
Somebody might be able to elaborate a little bit on that.
Thank you. Sharon?
Transportation is a really hot button. I ran a call center where I have people that had to come into work at midnight. Same thing in a hotel. They get off at 6. How do they get there? They walk if they can't afford Uber. So transportation is a big deal. I have looked at it. I actually did in my master's, I did a paper at Brescia on it. It does cost a lot of money, and I've talked to a lot of people, but we do have to find something different between the people that are coming into our community and for the people. I don't know about you all, but if you had to buy a new car lately, you would understand that. And I would recommend anybody to go over to Litchfield Road, find a bus stop, and get to Carter Road and watch how long it takes you to get there and how many times, if 1-2 times you change. I did that in Leadership Owensboro, and it certainly made a big difference.
Yes, there's a trolley that runs downtown, and I serve on the commission quite some time. Nobody was ever on it. You can allocate funds and take funds from other places, and you can make a difference to get people that are underserved where they need to go. It's just the will of a commission and 3 people getting together and deciding that's what they want to do. It's not that hard. You can get it done. You just have to have 3 people to work together, or 5. It just depends on how many people are on the commission that's willing to do it to make it happen.
Jeff, while we're on you, you're next. Cities all across the nation, but specifically Owensboro, has seen an uptick in the rise in shootings, particularly teen shootings. How would you, if you were to be elected, address these concerns that people have, and what's the government's role in fixing this issue?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say hats off to our police department because I think they do an absolutely terrific job. As far as youth and shootings, I've said this before. It comes down to parents. It comes down sometimes if kids don't have parents, it comes down to the communities where they live to try to keep these kids involved and out of the circles that they run that may not be so positive. That's the thing. As elected officials up here, none of us can do anything to stop 100% of the shooting, but we can support our police department, and you know, like I said, it comes down to the family, and I think the families have in the past 30 years have dropped off. So that's why we're seeing a lot of the problems that we're seeing.
Bob.
Yes, well, no, Robert, go ahead. You were up. Are you sure? Okay. All right, so essentially the big issue here is we're talking about parents. We can't solve the parents around the dinner table, but what the city has done and will continue to do is support groups like the Boys and Girls Club, Girls Inc., Western Academy at the Neblet, Breaking the Cycle, programs that are working with at-risk youth to get them to move away from crime. This year alone, the number of shootings, the number of deaths associated with it are down. I checked with our city manager today. Our numbers are down significantly from 2 years ago. So we're making progress. The other is OPD is doing a great job. They are doing a great job. They had a major drug bust in the last 2 weeks that I think you'll see a tremendous drop in those incidents. But the big issue is we need to help parents through more daycare and more services. Thank you. Sorry.
Robert.
I believe a good curfew would help getting the good kids off the street. I like that we can train our police officers here in Owensboro now, which will get more police officers out there where they can get involved in the community. But our country and our state and our city is a dumpster fire right now in regards to homelessness and drugs and gun violence, and I plan on being somebody new in there that will take new approaches to it because what's been going on hasn't helped.
Thank you. Curtis.
You know, complicated issues don't have simple answers, solutions, but, you know, I think getting all the community stakeholders involved and working together, collaborating with you know, the entire community is going to help. I mean, I think that's what it's going to take.
Rafe.
Collaboration.
So I just want to echo what other folks have said. I think OPD does a great job trying to control what they can control. But just like Bob said, I think we have to continue to support these grassroots programs that are actually out here supporting families and working with children directly. Me personally, if I was to be elected, I would continue to do what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, which is going into the schools. I go to Emerson Academy, I've been to College View, I've been to OHS to talk to the kids about consequences and good choices. So I like to continue to do that. Also, I'm on the committee to start a youth council back at City Hall.
Yep. Thank you. Robert, we're going to move on to you with the next question. Or actually, yeah. Yes, Robert, okay. On the topic of homelessness, Owensboro has seen an uptick in the rise in homeless. How would you address this crisis if you were to become elected?
Well, if you watch the city commissioner meeting this week, a man that owns the Cadillac has got a huge problem with that. We've got to address the mental illness issues. We've got to help the people that are collecting Social Security that don't have a whole lot of money, but they'll have skin in the game, and get them in houses, rebuild these homes. I can do that. I know how to do it. Jeff knows how to do it. We need to help people that can help also, but we have to get help from the state. If we don't get money from the state, like I said, Louisville is spending $40 million that they got from the governor, to help rebuild these places. So, I mean, it's a huge issue, and it can be fixed. You just have to roll up your sleeves and get it done.
Bob.
Yes, homelessness is a major issue across the country, but the issue you've got is you need to rapidly rehouse people. I'm on the St. Benedict's Homeless Center Board. I was also on Crossroads. You can build facilities to put people in, but they have to be willing to go. Many of them will not go into housing you provide. They want to be on the streets. I know that doesn't make sense, but you're dealing with drug addiction, mental illness, all those things. So while we need to provide more facilities, and we're working to do that, we also need to recognize it's a huge generational problem, and it's not something you're going to solve overnight.
Jeff.
It is a big problem, and a lot of people that are here that are homeless are not even from here. Not to say that we can't have compassion and help them, but they're not from here. And Bob mentioned something that's correct. A lot of them, they come here, they can't follow the rules. They have mental issues, they have drug problems, and then they get kicked out, and then now they're on the streets. And they don't want to come into a facility. They want to live on the street, which is, yeah, to us, you know, that seems a little.
Time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Curtis, one more.
Yeah, you know, there's no one size fits all. It involves collaborating with, you know, our local and state agencies. Mental health facilities that we have, amazing things, our hospitals, shelters, churches, and just helping provide the support that they need. It wasn't, you know, it's in every community, urban community, and we just have to work together. And we're not going to solve it by one together.
Sharon, and then that'll be last response.
We all need to understand that being homeless is not a crime, it's a circumstance. And all of us know that you can fix anything with a Band-Aid for a little bit, but somehow you've got to find the root cause. And obviously, not only Owensboro, but our United States has this problem. So until we find the root causes and start fixing them there at the beginning, we're always going to have homeless people, whether they want to be there or not be there. But at least let's try and keep working on what's the right thing to do to get people to change and to want to be in another place.
Thank you. I'll allow one more question, and that'll be it for this question.
Well, you're gonna hear that it's a nationwide problem, but it hasn't been in Owensboro. Owensboro never went with the nationwide problems, real estate, homelessness, gun violence. They never went along with those trends. Here in just the last 4 years, it's gotten really bad, and that's why we need new leadership at City Hall. And also, there's an empowerment academy downtown that was supposed to be for homeless kids that were fostering out of foster care. It's built, it's brand new, it's beautiful, it's empty. And I don't understand why it's empty.
That's your question. Bob, we're going to move on to you for the next question. Should Owensboro provide more funding for mental health services? And if so, how would you prioritize this within the city's budget?
Mental health care?
Yeah.
We support through a United Way grant at the tune of $250,000 singularly each year a number of agencies that address mental health issues in our community, including River Valley. And I don't know whether you've paid attention through the Owensboro Times or Owensboro Messenger Choir. River Valley is a major player regionally in providing mental health services to teens, veterans, and the elderly. And those who are drug addicted. They're doing terrific work. We're supporting what River Valley is doing. They're a leader in this area and will continue to do so. The other thing on the Empowerment Academy, I got to address this because I've been through the Empowerment Academy 8 times. This is a great facility. They are waiting to staff it. Once it is staffed, they will open it, because once you open it, you'll need to have high quality professional staff. You don't want to open it without good
Bob,
staff.
Thank you. That's your time. Thank you. We're now going to move on to education. And as many of you all know, Amendment 2 is going to be on the ballot. Now, the City Commission cannot, they can't do much with that. It's up to the citizens to vote. But Sharon, if you were to be reelected, what role should the City Commission play in providing incentives for private or charter schools, if they should at all? And should public funds remain within the public school system?
To be perfectly honest, I don't feel well-versed enough on those to say exactly what should happen. I think it belongs to the people that have the children who are making the decisions and paying the bills, and they're going to have the opportunity to vote in November and make a decision on what they think is the right way to go. I've always said everybody has good reasons on one side or the other. The people that say yes and the people that say no. They're all very valid concerns and reasons and rationale, and I think we need to let those people who are actually impacted make that decision.
Would anyone like to respond? Robert?
Well, there's an election for school board members. I say you get very involved with that. Yeah, we wouldn't have a whole lot to do with the amendment. It's just to get it on the ballot. And I suggest you check the scores of comprehensive reading and writing and arithmetic in our public schools here, and that's an easy way to make your decision on how you want to vote on that. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Robert?
As an educator, let me just say that we are blessed to have tremendous school systems. Davis County, Owensboro Public Schools, Catholic, as well as some private institutions do an outstanding job. We don't have an education problem in Owensboro. We have great schools at both the private and public levels. I will say the only concern I have about this proposition is it doesn't tell us what they'll do. Read the proposition. It says the legislature will decide what to do later. I wouldn't give anybody, for any decision, a blank check. So that's my one cautionary concern. Read the bill and be careful.
Is that it for that question? All right. Rafe, we're going to move on to you. In regards to taxes and government spending, how do you plan to reduce government waste without sacrificing critical public services if you were to become elected?
I guess I would just have to look over the budget and kind of see where we might be wasting funds at. Right now, I think things are running fairly smooth from what I've looked at. And when I say that, it's just like day-to-day activity. Now, and this is kind of doubling back on one of the questions from earlier, when he talked about the mental health thing, I would like to see us add a mental health component to OPD, whether that's partnering with River Valley or another organization. I think that we should offer that to our officers.
Thank you. Essentially, what would be your plan with, handling the budget? And are there any services that you would reduce, or would you expand and potentially, not necessarily waste services, but reduce the spending, but then maybe potentially sacrificing, public services that already exist?
Well, right now, we've got a lot of projects that are millions of dollars, and it's costing the taxpayers. That we've got the hotel, we've got the senior center, $125,000 an acre we spent for the senior center. The swimming pool that we just built, it's high school kids. I mean, it's not built for high school kids. We've got to start looking at these plans and these specs and these budgets and get them in line and do good. And at a 20% inflation, this is not a good time to be building all these big projects. If you look at our convention center, it's 10 years old, and in the past 2 years, it just started making money, and not a whole lot. So we've got to stop these crystal ball projects. And
That's your time. Thank you.
Better projects.
Jeff?
The staff in Owensboro, Kentucky is really good with the budgets. I'll have to say that right now. If you don't want taxes to go up and you want things to be a little bit easier on everybody, you have to have more people paying into the pool. That's why I keep saying industry. That at one time, Owensboro, years ago, we had tons of industry, and we were ahead of Bowling Green. And in no time, 10 years, 15 years, we started to slow down and they started to speed up. We have got to get back to industry.
Thank you. Bob?
Yeah, the city is not ever allowed to run a deficit like the federal government is. And I would say look at the PAFR. That's the publication that's put out, shows our budget. It's about a 50-page publication. It's much more easy to understand the budget. And you will see with Angela Hamrick and our budget staff that we're doing an excellent job of managing your money. The hotel is paid for through bed tax, which won't affect anybody who lives here. It'll affect our visitors. They'll pay it. Many cities have that. So that'll cover the sportsplex. The senior center, we needed a new facility. What we have is an embarrassment. We need to get that replaced, and we're going to, and we can afford to do it. And the final thing is the city has never been in better shape financially.
That's your time, Bob.
So.
Bob, thank you. Robert, one more response.
As far as our debt, the city, our long-term debt is at $150 million. So,
Curtis, now we're going to move on to you. This is regarding regulation and business freedom. Do you believe Owensboro should deregulate certain industries to promote business growth? And if so, which sectors would benefit the most?
Working with remote workers, we need to look in the high-tech industry. We need to look in the AI is here. We've got to be diverse. It is very important, like Jeff said, the trade industries. That's what we are. We're looking for them every single day. So making sure we stay on top of that and do whatever we can, working with the colleges to help.
Thank you. No responses. Robert?
Right now, we've got to help entrepreneurs, people that are starting up new businesses. We've got to put people together and help our entrepreneurs, because there's nobody more talented than you guys sitting out there. You've got a passion. There's something you like to do. I love to remodel homes and build homes. You know, people, so we've got to support our entrepreneurship, because that's all we got right now. You know, our builders, you know, our plumbers, heating, air conditioning guys, our mechanics, those kinds of folks. We've got to, unless we spread out and get more land in industrial park, that's what we got to focus
Time.
on.
Thank you. Rafe?
Yeah, I would like to see us bring back our small business incubator. It used to be one over on Davis. Used to be old Charlie Key grocery store. But that went away for whatever reason, and I would like to see us bring that back. I think that could be a good jump-off point for small businesses. So hopefully that's something that's in the works.
Thank you. Sharon?
On a positive note, if you all will notice the health force, well, I can't know what we'll call it, enterprise, where we're actually having things that are done here in town and bringing students from other parts of the state of Kentucky to learn to be healthcare workers, surgeons, doctors, and that is an amazing technology event that is going on and is supported by local business and Owensboro Health. So we are doing a lot of good things. And when I say we, I'm talking about it, we as a community, people out there like you and I that just work in the regular workforce.
At your time. Thank you. Bob, one more question.
Yes, we will, through Claude Bacon and the Economic Development Center, we will be having a renewal of the small business development program that Rafe's talking about. I think it's absolutely critical to nurture and grow entrepreneurial investment in our community. And it worked well before, and I think it will work well again.
Thank you. Jeff, regarding business, really with business culture, you know, Kentucky's known for being, you know, the bluegrass and bourbon capital of the world. And, you know, Owensboro has the bluegrass, we have the bourbon, but we don't really have the horses. So obviously Philip Morris is expanding and they're bringing 600 new jobs. Would you be for or against them able to advertise their nicotine products, you know, around our city and promote that? Or would you be against that because it maybe, you know, would you be against that or for that?
So are you asking me would I be against them advertising Zen or their
Yeah,
products?
advertising their products.
Their products?
Like River Distillery does.
No. I think it's wonderful that, I mean, look, they just added a ton of jobs for this community, which is huge. We've grown a business that's here. Why did they grow it? Because they came up, let's be honest, they came up with Zen. Zen is one of the top selling things in the world. And they are absolutely killing it. So that's why they are expanding. I would absolutely be supportive of that company 100%. Look at all the jobs they've created and are going to create. My only thing is I just want to create more. I want to create brand new businesses.
Thank you. Robert?
Zen should have been branded in this city a long time ago. But at one time, they were told that nicotine pouches weren't the image the city wanted to portray. And now that they brought these 500 jobs in, Zen should have been on barbecue festivals. It should have been all over the city. I did the mobile marketing for Zen the last 10 years, and I've been to every city across this nation, seen the good things and bad things. But Zen and Swedish Match is a great business here. And then as far as the jobs that Ragu has brought in, the 150, they actually just brought those back. They actually cut them a couple years ago.
That's your time. Thank you. Yeah. Any more responses? Bob?
Well, I think they're allowed to advertise. The federal government may make them put that tag or restriction on, but we're thrilled to have Swedish Match here. They've been a large employer in the area even before this job expansion, and they're a good employer. They provide well-paying union jobs with good benefits, and that's one thing Owensboro doesn't have a lot of. And so as a result, we're absolutely thrilled that Swedish Match has chosen to expand, and I think they'll see future expansions because Zen is just exploding as a product, as you said, Jeff.
Thank you. Rafe?
Yeah, I just want to add to that too, man. Swedish Match is definitely a gem here, and I appreciate them. They probably have the most diverse workforce in Owensboro, so I tip my cap to them.
I believe I saw Sharon and then Curtis.
I had the opportunity to speak to some of the representatives from Washington with Swedish Match, and they are very proud that in the United States, they intend for their product to be, the only product would be completely smokeless. So I think it's moving in the right direction.
Curtis.
You know, Swedish Match has been a game changer to our industry, and I echo everything. I absolutely would support it. Game changer.
Thank you. Robert, the next question is for you. Regarding culture and entertainment, Beaver Dam, as we know, has built an amphitheater that's become quite popular. They're bringing in artists from, Nelly to Tesla to some comedians coming, big name, I can't remember, but, Gene Simmons, yeah. So how could Owensboro, being a much larger city than Beaver Dam, how come, we don't have entertainment spaces like this? And, if you were to be elected, how would you bring, these entertainment entities here?
The River Park Center is the gem of Owensboro as far as I'm concerned, and it has been misused, it's been abused, it hasn't been taken care of through the city commissioners and mayors and the board. The River Park Center is capable of putting on good concerts. We have to work with the director, the board, and we have to draw in these concerts and get these folks here. I mean, we can get 38 Special here. We can get Chicago. We got Ted Nugent here. We have to support our orchestra. The River Park Center is, and then we got our downtown riverfront and Bluegrass Museum where we can do some concerts outside and the convention center yard. But the River Park Center needs to be used, opened up during Friday after 5. I mean, Friday after 5, you can't even go in the place. We have to support and be behind the River Park Center and our downtown cultural center. We've got to light up the bridge across 2nd Street, light up our entrances to our city, and clean up our city. But get the River Park Center booming. We can have some rocking concerts at the River Park Center.
Thank you. Rafe?
So he's absolutely right. So if we were to build an amphitheater, then we're competing against ourselves. We already have River Park Center, we have the Convention Center, we have Bluegrass Museum. We just need to use them better, Sports Center as well. It seems to be that we have hooked our wagon to bluegrass and country, and so it seems like the folks that book these shows are scared to touch other forms of music. But that also helps us attract and retain young people when we put that mix of music in there, right? So we started a concert series we call Groovin' on the Green. We did it on the Convention Center line where we brought in different genres of music just to kind of diversify things here.
Thank you. Sharon?
Groovin' on the Green was great, and it was definitely diversified. One of the things that I just know because of being in the tourism industry is that with OVG now running the River Park Center as well as the Convention Center, we will benefit from seeing acts. So if you're a large act and you're coming from Chicago and you're going to Nashville, then we can get you to stop in Owensboro for a lot cheaper price. So you will be seeing some advantages from that change, and that's what's happened with some of the people that we've seen come in lately.
Bob?
Yeah, OVG 360 that it runs the convention center now runs almost all of our facilities. They'll also run the Sportsplex. That scheduling benefit will help, so you don't have River Park competing with, for instance, the convention center with dual concerts on the same night. But when they brought Chicago to the Sports Center, and the Sports Center, if you've not been there, is an excellent venue for concerts. Chicago rocked. The place was full. It was a wonderful concert, and they'd had about 5 or 6 other big-ticket, well-known groups come in. So I think we're competing well. Remember, Ohio County, hats off to them. That's great that they have that. But if it rains or it storms, they're out of business. We're indoors.
Thank you, Bob. Robert, one more response.
I think you have to look at the top and who runs our, any kind of a special events director. And obviously the guy in Ohio County does a great job at special events. We need change in a lot of areas of leadership here. So if we're having a problem with that, you have to look at our special events directors and those kinds of things.
Bob, now we're going to move on to fairness ordinances. Now, obviously, this has been a contentious issue in this city and county. What's your opinion on fairness ordinances, and should it be implemented?
The fairness ordinance has been bounced around. The county reviewed it and decided not to pass it. They deadlocked 2-2. But I would just tell you, every day that we continue to treat a segment of our population dismissively, we harm our economic prospects. It's real simple. It's an economic issue. If I'm Tim Cook at Apple and I want to bring in a packaging and distribution center, I'm not going to do it in Owensboro, where we appear to be an insensitive, closed-minded group of people and investors. So it's absolutely critical, even if we don't pass the fairness ordinance, we begin to look at programs that incentivize and encourage young people, regardless of their sexual orientation or background or racial background, that we want them here, that we care about each and every person. And I believe that Owensboro is a caring community. Look at how we've treated the waves of refugees that have come in, from the Afghanis to the Burmese. We've done an excellent job in that area. We need to do the same for all residents.
Rafe?
So I just challenge anybody, go to Walmart on Frederica on a Sunday evening, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Look around and tell me what you see in there. That is Owensboro. We're a small city, but we are a city, and we have everything here. So I absolutely support one. And we just have to, like Bob said, we have to be that community, because it is hurting us. When we have, I'm doing a Rich Harwood Institute thing right now, and I promise you, when they come back with this report, that's going to be something we got an F in that. So we've got to do better.
Thank you. Now moving on to health and public policy. Obviously, Owensboro Health has become a large and prosperous health system in Owensboro and surrounding counties. Sharon, how, if you were to be reelected, would you manage the competition that's coming into Owensboro? Because there seems to be a monopoly of Owensboro Health that may be pushing some, doctors out of the city. And just how would you address this issue if you believe it is one?
I don't believe it is one, because I don't have any facts about that, but I do know that in speaking with some officials at Owensboro Health, one of the biggest concerns is that a lot of people are coming in, doctors and physicians, and they're taking their business away. So if I want to go get a new chin or something, then this doctor's going to go across the bridge and have a surgery over there, and my insurance is going to pay for it. But if I'm on Social Security and Medicare and I just need to get my broken arm fixed, then that's what the local hospital is going to have to do. So we have to make sure that that we have a balance where you're not bleeding off the profitability of things that would allow you to function and provide service for us. Our hospital, I believe, is like 5,000 workers here in town. We need them, and we need to make sure that they have the funds and the things that they need to prosper, and also to be fair and on how that. Now, I do not have the answer on how to solve that.
Jeff?
I support our hospital 100%. It's beautiful, well-run, but we do have a problem of bleeding doctors to other places, which is a concern. Do I have the answers right here today? No, but it is on the radar, and my family, most of them are in the doctoring business, so it's something that I do have my eye on, and it is a concern.
Robert?
Well, our hospital doesn't have a monopoly. You can go to healthcare, like emergency room healthcare is here. You can go there. You can go to Ohio County. You can go to Evansville. My dad, who has dementia, 91, fell, COVID, pneumonia. He's had 2 visits to the emergency room that were 17 hours. They're understaffed. I pray for our hospital every morning for staffing, the pharmaceuticals they need, the cleanliness, the honesty. It's a hard business. It is a rough business. But by golly, when you go in there bleeding, you're probably going to be glad that we have a hospital that's
Thank
here.
you, Robert. Rafe?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I love the hospital. They've been a great community partner to the nonprofits in Owensboro. As he said, Deaconess has a couple urgent care places here, I believe. As far as the doctors, it is true we're losing doctors, but I think a lot of it is some of the social stuff we've talked about up here. I know a young lady right now that's a surgeon. She works between here and Muhlenberg's hospital, and it's just, she comes here, she's coming from New York, and it's like her food option, she's vegan. So we've only got like a handful of places here that
Right.
cater to that. So it's just those things that we got to improve.
Bob?
One of the things you need to consider is Owensboro Health is our largest single employer in Davis County. Mark Marsh, since he's come in as CEO and he's a WKU grad, has done an amazing job. He's planning to build a clinic on the west side. He's gotten the health leadership program that Sharon alluded to started to shore up the shortage of doctors and PAs and nurses. Nurses is the main shortage. The other thing is you and I have a voting interest in Owensboro Health. We have people on the board we put on there. So we have a sense of what's going on there and a better sense of what direction they're going. Are they a perfect hospital? Absolutely not. Is it a competitive marketplace? It certainly is. But the biggest thing is those jobs are important to our community, and I think the current leadership team with Mark Marsh is doing a really good job of obtaining high-quality outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you. Rafe, this may be a somewhat broad question, but as we're wrapping up, if you were to become elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the city of Owensboro if you were to be elected?
So I've been telling everybody my 3 pitches have been the homelessness. I live a block away from St. Benedict, so I deal with it. I'm up close and personal, almost on the daily, and that just comes from all aspects of homelessness, you know, as we said up here, the mental illness and just the roots of it and what we're dealing with. Number 2 is affordable housing, and like I said, I've got some ideas on that as well. And then youth violence has been my other issue, and so I've just kind of been like, hey, we're gonna be out here, we're gonna be out front, and we're gonna connect with the people that are boots on the ground.
Yeah, I think I want everybody to answer this question. So I'll start with Curtis. You can go next.
No, you know, my top 3 is strong public safety. We need to make sure everybody feels comfortable and safe in our community. If we don't have a safe community, we don't have people wanting to live here. We don't have businesses coming. Second would be good quality basic services, infrastructure. You know, we have amazing parks, our water. It's not fancy, but you know, that's what keeps quality of life. Third, economic development with the focus on talent recruitment, development, and retention, because I would love to have every graduate at all of our colleges to stay here in Owensboro.
Thank you. Jeff?
Number 1 would be industry, and I've talked about it all night. I think that is my main concern, and that's my main focus, laser focused. Number 2 would be clean and safe city, which Curtis just alluded to. You know, you don't have much if you don't have a safe community, which our officers here in Owensboro do a wonderful job. Can we get better? Always. We all can get better, whatever we do. Clean. Every entrance into this city should be clean. Clean, neat, and welcoming. We've got to do better. A lot of our entrances into this town, they're just not clean and they're not welcoming. It should be, when you pull into this town, you're not from here, it should be something, wow. It's just like walking through a front door of a house. When you open the door and it's very nice and clean, you're impressed, and that's the way that should be. And homelessness for sure. Nobody has the answer directly, but it's something that's on, I believe it's on everybody's radar up here pretty much and in the community. So that's just something that we're going to have to really, really concentrate on.
Thank you. Robert?
Well, it's a 2-year term, and I only want to run for 2 years. I'm 64. I have a passion for the job, and I want to get in there and do it. But so you have to keep it simple. I want to do sidewalks, streets. The city I live on Maple Avenue, the overhead electric hangs down in my driveway. I'd like to see the money, the dividend we get back from ONU to start doing underground electric for our city. I want to make sure that our seniors are taken care of. I want to start entrepreneurship incentives, because that's something that we can do quick, and also start getting these old houses on the tax roll and getting people with some skin and, interviewing people that collect Social Security that just can't, that need some help. And I'd like to see that happen. But keep it simple. I'm going to run a 2-year term. That's all I want. I want to see our mayor be a full-term mayor. I want a younger mayor. I'd like to see things like that happen, that you can do in 2 years. At least get it, discussion about it.
Thank you. Bob?
Yes, I think the big issue that's tied together is affordable housing and homelessness. You have to have a place to move people who are homeless and are willing to go. And one of the ways to do that is rapid rehousing. Once you get them a roof over their head, you can deal with mental health issues and drug addiction. So that certainly is a priority in my next term. And I think we're already making good progress through the partnerships with Habitat for Humanity and the investments through community block grants I alluded to earlier. Gun violence. Yeah, we had a shooting in my neighborhood. I want to feel safe in my community. But the way we do that, it starts at the basic level. You go to the young men who are doing it, and some of these are as young as middle school age, and you get them into programs like Breaking the Cycle and Western Academy, and you say, there is a better path for you, young man, young woman, from getting involved with crime and violence. And when we do that, and we are making progress now, our community will be even better, because I think we live in a beautiful community, the envy of many other communities and states, and I'm proud to represent Owensboro.
Thank you. And last but not least, Sharon.
I agree with affordable housing. I'd also like to add a caveat to that also we need to make sure we're overseeing our landlords, because we do have a lot of housing out there, and we have a lot of tenants who are afraid to complain about their housing because they might lose their place to live, and where are they going to go if they do? So I think we need to have some more oversight of that. That's been brought to my attention. I do think we have to have opportunities for advancement, whether it's just you're coming out of recovery and you're starting a new job, or you've got a new job and you get a promotion. There has to be opportunities, and again, that comes with our economic development. And obviously safety, and along with that safety goes transportation. Always have to throw transportation in there.
Thank you. Jeff, we're now going to return to our last traditional question, so you're going to get 1 minute to respond, and then you all can give a 30-second response. But the question is, there have been talks about consolidating the city and county government. Would you entertain this idea? If so, please explain, and if not, explain as well.
At this time, no. No. The way I look at it is you have 4 commissioners, the mayor, you have your county commissioners, and you have your judge executive. I think, to a degree, the more that we have, the more representation you have, I guess you could say, well, we could combine this, this, and this, but I don't think Owensboro is quite ready for that. I think right now the way we're doing it is actually pretty good. I think Owensboro is ran. The staff at Owensboro, since I've worked with them, and they are excellent at what they do. And I believe the county is ran excellently too. So we're very lucky in this community, because there's a lot of communities that are not ran like we are. So we're very, very lucky. I think that's something maybe in the future, but I think it's not anything for at this moment.
Thank you. Robert?
Well, you asked if it would work. If done right, it will work. Lexington did it right. It works. Louisville did it wrong. It doesn't work. When I was building houses, you had planning and zoning. You had to go to the county to build in the county, the city to build in the city. They merged, came together, and it just simplifies things so much. And it's easier to communicate with Frankfort if you have a merged government. Like I said, it works done right. Like Jeff said, is it time to do it? The mayor, Tom Watson, thinks it is. So,
That's your time. Any more responses? Bob?
Yeah, we already have, to a degree, movement toward merged government. The RWRA, Regional Water Resource Agency, has merged city-county activity. So they handle the maintenance of sewers, pipelines, all of that, water quality and the rest. We're slowly moving toward a consolidated management of our parks and recreation programs in the county and city. So we already are moving toward merged government. But where this works really well, the current system, is the county has responsibility for the transfer station and the jail. The city has responsibility for probably a lot more roads than the county does, at least in the urban area, and also we run the senior center. So we're in a situation where we divvy that up, which helps budgetarily, helps both entities budgetarily, and it means one group doesn't have the entire burden on their back. And I think our communication over the last year has been a lot better. I meet with Chris Caslin once a month, and we have lunch and talk.
Bob.
So we're in a good shape.
Thank you. To wrap up tonight, I'm going to ask another non-traditional question, but I think it's important because, you know, as running for city commissioner, I think you should love this city. So I'm going to go in order, and I'm going to ask each of you, and you're going to have 1 minute to respond. Why do you love this city, and why do you think you should be the one who, you know, gets to be on its board and help make decisions for our communities? Sharon, would you like to go first?
Well, obviously I do, because I have traveled everywhere else. I had jobs in 5 different states, and I always came back home. This is home. I love it because of the people. I love it because we care about each other. I love it because we do have opportunities here. Yeah, we may not have as big opportunities as a larger city, but we do care about people. And if you walk around, how many times when you walk in does somebody smile at you? You've never seen them before. So I think we, in Owensboro, we want to grow, we want to be great, and we also want to be home and family to everyone.
So the same thing, Owensboro's home. I've lived in Nashville, Cincinnati, and Louisville, and I've ended up back here just because there is that sense of community here. Also, I think it's great that just like now, we're sitting here with 2 sitting city commissioners, and you can walk up and have a conversation with them. You can't do that in Chicago. You can't do that in New York. You know, to get to talk to the mayor it's almost impossible, I could imagine. So, you know, as I said earlier, we're growing as a city, becoming multicultural, but we're still retaining a lot of our small town charm. And so it is appealing, and you can kind of be a big fish in a small pond, so to speak. So, and the people are very nice. So,
Thank you. Curtis?
You know, I love our community. I'm biased because I've lived all my life here. I've done all my professional life working here in Owensboro. I don't see any other place. I've been blessed to travel all over the country, and Owensboro is home. You know, it's been great, again, for our family. I look back over 100 years that Maglingers have had some sort of a business in Owensboro, and it's been great for all of us. So, I mean, it's my time to give back and serve our community. I love it. It's exciting running for the first time ever. It's my first time ever doing a political thing. It's really fun, and I'm excited to keep on going. Thank you.
Owensboro is a great community, and I know we hear some negative things up here every once in a while, but you know what? When you're out knocking on doors, when you do this, when you run for office and you knock on doors and you talk to people, it really warms your heart because we're really good people. We're a really good community, and we're very blessed to live in Owensboro. I've been to a lot of other places in a lot of other states, and we're very blessed, as I said, to live in a community like this. Great schools, great health care. Everything about Owensboro is great. The reason why I'm running is because I'm competitive, and I want to see the best version that Owensboro can be. And I think we can be even better than we are. And that's why I'm running, because I want to see us be the best that we can be.
Thank you. Robert?
Well, if you hadn't seen what's happening in our world, in our country, in our state, in our city, it's not good. And Owensboro, if we're not careful, is going to be there, and we are there in certain areas. I love this city so much. My wife and I love it. My kids live here. My parents live here. I go to church here. I've got long friends for life here. Went to Apollo High School. I love this city. It's a close-knit city, but it's at a crossroad right now. And this election is a huge crossroad. We've got to get new people in there. We've got to get fresh faces, fresh ideas, and we've got to be careful because look what's going on. We cannot allow the things that are happening, blame it on a national problem and say it's okay, it's happening in Owensboro. That's not, I will not allow that to happen. I will not shut this city down again like it was shut down a few years ago, and it hasn't bounced back yet.
Thank you. Bob?
Yes, I think the biggest benefit of Owensboro is it's a great place to live and raise a family. We raised 2 children here, and one of them is still here, and the other one's talking about moving back. She'd love to move back. They live in the Cleveland area because Owensboro is a caring community. We have over 600 nonprofit agencies that address everything from mental health to drug addiction to the Wendell Foster Center, which is a jewel working with disabled people. The other thing with our community is we're not standing still. Look at all the development we have downtown. Look at the new senior center that we're about to construct, the Sportsplex, the third hotel downtown. We are on the move. And why are we on the move? Because every day you govern a city, and I think we've done a pretty good job overall, you're competing against Elizabethtown and Bowling Green and every other city, and you can't stand still. And Owensboro never does, and that's what I love about our community. We do not stand still. We move forward.
Thank you all. Well, I think that concludes tonight's debate. Will you all please give a warm welcome and applause to our candidates tonight? All right. Thank you all.